Hi guys! Today I'll make carrot cake. I've been making this cake for years and everybody loves it, so I figured I'd show you how to make it. Even people who don't usually like carrot cake love this cake. If you're turned off by carrot cake, it's probably because you've had hard, cardboard-like carrot cake with no flavor. This cake is the opposite. It's soft, flavorful, with just the right amount of sweetness. The fluffy and simple cream cheese frosting goes perfectly with the carrot cake. Heat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. We'll need grated carrots, of course. You can grate them on the big holes of your box grater or use the shredder attachment in your food processor. All the ingredients and measurements are in a link right below this video. We'll need vegetable oil, brown sugar, white sugar, eggs, golden raisins, chopped dates, vanilla extract, ground cinnamon, ground cloves, grated nutmeg, salt, baking powder, baking soda, all-purpose flour. Add all the spices, salt, baking powder, and baking soda to the flour. Whisk to combine. Into your mixing bowl, add the white sugar, brown sugar, vegetable oil, add the eggs one at a time. Vanilla extract. Now we'll add the flour mixture a little at a time. Add the carrots, chopped dates, and raisins. Mix it by hand to make sure everything's incorporated. And the cake batter's ready. I'm using two 9-inch cake pans. You can also use 8-inch cake pans. I'll butter and flour them so it's easier to get the cakes out. If you want to use parchment paper, butter the pans, put the parchment paper on top, and butter the parchment paper. Put some all-purpose flour in the pan. Tap out the excess over your sink. You can see the butter and flour has evenly coated the pan. Divide the batter evenly between the pans. You can use a scale if you want to be perfectly accurate, but you should have an idea of how even it is when you pick up the pans. Tap the pans a few times to get any air bubbles out. Put the pans in the middle of your heated oven for about 30 minutes. For the frosting, we'll need soft cream cheese, soft butter, a few pinches of salt, vanilla extract, and powdered sugar. Sift it. To make the frosting, add the soft butter to your bowl and the soft cream cheese. Mix for 3 minutes. The mixture is soft and fluffy. Add the vanilla extract, salt, and the powdered sugar. Mix on low at first, otherwise you're going to have powdered sugar all over your face. Then increase the speed and beat until fluffy. About 4 or 5 minutes. Scrape down the bowl in between if you need to. The frosting is fluffy and has the perfect amount of sweetness. It's not overly sweet. The cakes are out of the oven after exactly 30 minutes. After 15 minutes in the oven, turn the cake so they cook evenly. Insert a toothpick in the middle, and if it comes out clean or with very few crumbs, the cakes are cooked. It'll also spring back lightly when touched. The cake has pulled away from the sides of the pan. That's another sign that it's cooked. Cool the cakes completely on a rack. The cakes have cooled completely, now we can get them out of the pan. This cake is very moist. I like to put a piece of parchment on top of my cake board. You can find cake boards at party supply stores. If you don't have a cake board, just use a plate. Take an offset spatula, just run it around the edges, pull it a little, put your plate or cake board on top of the pan, and just flip it over. Give it a few taps, and it comes out perfectly. You can see how moist the cake is. We'll flip this over right onto our serving dish. You can leave this cake the way it is or go around and cut it in half. This way you'll get a 4-layer cake. We'll put our frosting in the middle. Get a big spatula, it'll make it easier to put the frosting on the cake. You can make the frosting a day or two ahead and put it in the fridge if you don't want to make the cake and frosting the same day. Just make sure you take the frosting out of the fridge early enough so it's not too cold. You can always whip it for a minute before you frost. You can go all the way to the end with the frosting. Remove the second cake from the pan. You see that the bottom is nice and flat, and this is what you want on top of the cake. It looks prettier and more even when you frost it. The cake is very moist, but it's sturdy enough that you can just put it right on top of the frosting with your hands. That's what I love about this cake. It's very easy to make. You could even make it by hand. You don't even need a mixer. Except for the frosting, of course, you can use a stand mixer or a hand mixer for that. It comes out so easily from the pan, even without using parchment paper. It's extremely moist, flavorful, and easy to work with. Just frost the top and the cake is ready to serve, or frost the top and the sides. Do be gentle with the frosting because if you press too hard, since the cake is moist, a little piece of it could come up with your frosting. When you've covered the top of the cake, just pull your spatula towards the middle a little. If you want to create a pattern, just very simple so you don't have to pull out a piping bag. You can just go really heavy on the frosting, or if you have a little bit left over, you can pipe some rosettes around the outside and a little bit in the middle of the cake. Really simple homemade carrot cake. I'll cut you a piece. Get a serrated knife and a paper towel or a clean kitchen cloth. After you cut ones, just wipe the knife off so you get clean looking slices. This cake will serve 8 to 12 people. This is also a cake you can make ahead of time, and I mean the whole cake assembled. Even after 4 or 5 days, the cake is still soft because of the vegetable oil and the moisture from the carrots. So you don't have to worry about making this cake last minute when you have lots of other things to cook, especially for Thanksgiving coming up or for any other gathering. Make it today so you have one less thing to cook on Thursday. When you store it in the fridge, put plastic wrap over it or put it in a cake box. If you're using plastic wrap for any cake, make sure you press it right up against the cut part so it doesn't get dry. Seriously, one of the best carrot cakes you'll ever eat. I hope you try this carrot cake and let me know how you liked it. Subscribe and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.